Tracy Barnes,
Present.
Andy Vaughn, sorry. Steve King.
Here.
Bernie Byer,
Present.
Bill Johnson, John L. Seltzer,
Present.
Matt Bilkey, Eric Yazel,
Present.
Brian Bair,
Present.
Jack Seeks.
Present.
We are all here.
Good deal. Thank you all for joining. I think we'll be able to run through this pretty quick. I know a couple of folks have other commitments that they need to potentially get to. So we'll try to get the votes out of the way here on the front end. And then we'll go through a couple of items with the staff here at IDHS. So let's go ahead and take a look at the minutes from the June 13th meeting, if you haven't already done so. And then unless there are any questions or corrections, I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Okay, motion and a second here in the room. Let's, any discussion online from the minutes? Okay, let's go ahead and do a roll call vote for those.
All right, Jonathan Witham,
Yes.
Joshua Kilo,
Yes.
Tracy Barnes,
Aye.
Andy Vaughn, Steve Kane,
Here.
Bernie Byer,
Aye.
Bill Johnson, Donna Seltzer,
Aye.
Matt Bilkey, Eric Yazel,
Aye.
Brian Baird,
Aye.
and Jack Seeks.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Those meeting minutes are approved. All right, next item on the agenda is presentation of designees for open positions. So is there any, do you want to present them or do we want to, how do we normally do this? I forget.
Well, I can start by letting them know. So Pascal Arns now works here down in the EOC. So we're replacing his position of fire service. And we've nominated Joel Thacker to take that place.
We have a candidate who we don't know anything about. I'm hoping he can give us a little background, but
I should.
so maybe Chief Joel Thacker, if you have anything you'd like to share with the group, and then we'll talk about our next candidate.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to serve in this capacity if so voted on. So that's up to you, but have a little bit of experience in this item moving back the last couple of years and would be happy to help assist moving forward in the future. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the other position is the representative for the Urban Area Working Group. So the Urban Area Working Group, it takes care of the UWASI. They're in charge of the UWASI money. And so their representative was Shane Booker. Shane's changed to a different position. And so the Urban Area Working Group voted on Friday to nominate Major Joshua Geezy from IMPD to serve on the staff as their representative.
Do we know if Josh was on?
He's on.
He is? Okay.
I am. Hey,
Uh,
good afternoon. I apologize for the attire. I'm working off of my recovery from a knee surgery, so sitting at home, but very happy if the opportunity shows up for me to be involved here. Just very quick background, 24 years now with Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department / IPD. Have been in special operations now bureau as an assistant commander for the last 2 years, working with UOG literally since I came over, handling most of the grant responsibilities along with our grant management personnel for the IMPD, pretty involved in that part, working right across the hall from our EMA director for Marion County as well. So I leech on to all of his knowledge base, and I'm constantly trying to find more information about all of this. But very excited to come and assist if possible.
Great. Thank you. All right, well, let's go ahead and do we'll do a roll call vote for each position.
I'll move to accept the two candidates as submitted.
Thank you, Trace. We'll do it all at once. We have a motion to accept both candidates into the world of the Senior Advisory Committee. Do we have a second on that motion?
Here.
Okay, we have a motion, and a second. Any discussion from anybody online or in the room? Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Jonathan Wosta,
Yes.
Joshua Kilo,
Yes.
Stacy Barnes.
Yes.
Yes.
Andy Bond. Steve King,
Here.
Bernie Byer,
Aye.
Phil Johnson, Donnell Zussler,
Aye.
Matt Bilkey, Eric Yeasel,
Aye.
Brian Baird,
Aye.
Zach Seats.
Yes.
Welcome to the team. If we have any further votes, you can now vote too.
Yeah, now that doesn't throw off our in-person number, does it?
Well,
Maybe we should have done this at the end. Might have to have somebody drop off. No. All right, we'll be fine. Let's move on to item number 5. Or we want to do ethics?
we're gonna turn this one over to Christy
Okay.
Schutz. She is our lawyer that helps us with everything. And also the ethics officer for DHS.
Good afternoon. Oh, sorry. Good afternoon,
Go
everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So as Rachel said, my name's Christy Shute, and I'm one of the deputy general counsels for IDHS, and I also serve as ethics officer. We just wanted to give you a reminder that every 2 years ethics training is underway. Rachel will be reaching out to you soon after this meeting to provide you the link. Training is due by December 6th, so you have plenty of time to take it. We prefer the sooner you do it, the better, just for tracking purposes. We'd also ask that once you take the training that you respond to Rachel and I as well, confirming that you have taken it, so that we can also track that and we have to certify to the Inspector General's office that everyone has been in compliance with the training. If you're a state employee on the SAC, you are doing your ethics training through SuccessFactors, so you don't have to do it separately as a board member, because SuccessFactors will track that internally. Anyone else who is not a state employee, you will have to access the link that Rachel will send you. It shouldn't take too long. It probably takes about 20 or 30 minutes. Even if you've recently taken the training, for example, committee member Thacker, if you took it before you left IDHS, perhaps you would still have to take it again in your new position as a SAC member now. But like I said, if you could take it by December 6th, that'd be great. The sooner the better. And if you have any questions about this offline, feel free to reach out to me directly.
Okay, thank you, Christy. Are there any questions before we move on to the next item on ethics training?
And I plan to have that email out tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest.
Sounds good.
All right, now it's my turn. So just to let you know, we did receive our federal award letter. To remind you what we had happen and approved last time. We received 145 applications total. There's the map of all the places that applied. Kind of broken down across the 6 priorities and enduring needs, and that they asked for over 16 million, almost 17. And we had a little over around 4 to give out. last time we approved to award 2 cybersecurity, 14 soft targets, 2 information and intelligence sharing, 1 domestic violent extremism, 1 community preparedness project, and 2 election security projects, and 13 local projects. So that turns out to 35 projects altogether. And here's the map of those we did fund. We will get their award letters tomorrow, one way or another. It will go out tomorrow for sure. The funding retained by the state was less than the 20% we could retain. So we kept that as low as we could. Most of it is management and administration and fusion center, and then a little bit to the Indiana election division for some security improvements. And then funding for the locals is 83%, which is just over $3.6 million. And we hit our LEPTA and our national priority requirements by more than what was required. And then you all approved to award over $4 million out to the 35 projects, with locals getting the vast majority, as they should. And then approved to deny the other 110 applicants. Those denial letters will also go out tomorrow. And there were no holds, no holds up on anything by FEMA. They didn't have additional questions on any of the projects, which meant the applications we submitted were really good. And they didn't have any more questions. So that's always good. We like it that way. All right. So then we can move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Any questions on that before we move on? Okay.
During the last 2 meetings of the SAC, we've had a lot of really good ideas for things we could do to improve, whether it be the application process, the review process, getting the word out, helping people write better grants. And we kind of wanted to capture that a little more and get those ideas now so that we can see what we can put into place before we need to get in the spring. So
this is an open brainstorming session, is that right?
Yep. The only
Okay.
thing I wrote down was application webinar. We did not do that this year. We did last year, so we'll add that back to the mix next year for sure.
Any reason we didn't do it?
Timing,
I'm
it was timing and just everything,
sure.
but mostly it was just timing. That's one of the big ones on my side that we definitely wanted to. And
Guess my question would be, do you know if 100% of the eligible audience gets the information for the application?
It was, well, never 100%.
You think so?
I would say never 100%.
That answers my question.
It's just, I'm stretching here, no, that's not my space, but there's so many folks that it's just almost impossible to, and there's the turnover that happens at the local levels with who's the right contact at the right time in the right place, and it's not easy to keep track of that.
Yeah, the turnover would be a big issue.
Yeah. Your contact information, send it to, or invite to a webinar.
That suffices for my concern, that at least there's a good chance that a very high percentage know about it. Being an outsider, I didn't know that.
well, we definitely make sure we send it to all of the EMAs is high on our list. usually multiple different ways. It goes on the website, law enforcement list goes up to them. So we do our best, but
Yeah.
there's always someone
Well,
not
and-
committed.
And having said that, we had to turn down 110.
Yeah.
And while that is important, the right people that we accept is the best solution.
We were talking about working with Oprah. And they're, the folks that they use to actually help the community write grants. The LG's office. It seemed like there was some communities that were responding but weren't good responses and needing grant writing support more than anything. That sounds familiar from that.
We had talked about mentorships
Yeah,
and things, so I think that goes along with it, but I don't know if we actually mentioned Okra or not.
so Okra has community liaisons that they have maybe, they used to like 9 to 12 of them across different regions across the state. And because they're already doing funding around, the community developed block grants, they're helping communities try to fill those out and get the work with different grant writers and such. And so, I mean, this could be something they could likely add to their communication or their engagement with what's on.
Do we know, ballpark, how many of the 110 that were denied were ineligible versus
Five.
bad grant? So
5.
ineligible. So.
They were either
100
incomplete or ineligible. There were 5.
So probably over 100 that were just not as good of applications. So maybe those could be the target.
Yeah.
For Oprah's.
Additional support.
See if they could just. I mean, it is going to create a harder
Yeah.
decision for us next time, but that's a good thing, in my opinion,
Yes.
to have 100 really great applications versus
Yeah.
30, and then, 100 that are not so great. Can you help get us some tips?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tracy. Any other ideas from anyone on online? Looks like Bernie maybe.
Yeah, so I've got 2 that we should probably talk about more before next time, and it kind of follows up to what we just talked about. On the emergency management side, and I know we're not all EMs, but the THIRA that we do every couple of years is key to all of our grant programs, because through that detailed process, we identify gaps, we look at strengths, and part of that detail is looking at which funding streams, local capital grants, and which grants we're going to use to go after to close that capability. Nowhere in our grant process for the SHSP or other grants do we require some kind of acknowledgement that we've coordinated our request through the county EM and how it supports the THIRA. So it becomes a free-for-all asking for stuff that might not really be a priority within that county's gaps and strengths as identified in the THIRA. And it also helps them to communicate and let people know that there's a grant coming and all that. So instead of what's on sale, we proactively engage through the THIRA process. So I think there's got to be some way, and I wouldn't suggest making the grant request go through the EM, because not everybody's got that capability and it slows it down, even if it's a check mark. But I think the THIRA plays a critical role in the months prior to the application. And at our level, we ought to be at least asking that question. Does this ask fit within the gaps that you formally identified in your community? Or is just a department or agency that's unilaterally asking for something and not coordinating it with the strategic plan of that county? So that's the first long-winded piece. Somehow tying it to the THIRA.
I'd like to second what Bonnie just said. This is Joshua Kilu, Cybersecurity and Risk Assessment Planning Manager. And the Tyra falls in my area. And one of the things which I've done in the last couple of weeks is I've created workflow on how everything feeds to everything, including grants, and how to identify the gaps in the training that the EMs are getting. And the goal is to be able to tie gaps identified to grants which are being awarded to make sure that in the next cycle, the emergency directors are not repeating the same gaps. If they receive any grants, we want to make sure that that money goes to close the gaps which are identified in the entire Ohio. So it's the same thing that Barney is saying. What I'm planning to do is meet with Kim, and we figure out how department is going to be using my data to quantify that the gaps and the grants tie together. If somebody's applying for a grant for cybersecurity and they get it, we don't want to see cybersecurity in the next cycle because, we believe that they received the training and the grants to close that gap. So that is what I'm going to be working on. And also one of the things that, we did is we connected with somebody from FEMA who is specialized in grant writing, and they're willing to come and meet with us. I was connected with Jeremy. Jeremy connected me to this person in FEMA who does EMA's grant writing process. So maybe I can forward that information to Kim, and maybe we can figure out if this is a resource we can use or not. That's all I have.
Very good. Any other comments or suggestions online or in the room?
Yeah, I've got my second one that's more open. That this group it's got a wide representation, and we're currently only looking at SHSP, not the whole grant program. We're just looking at one grant. But the representation we have, just adding UASI for Indianapolis metro area and fire active, we know there's other grants that might be more appropriate than SHSP, and we really don't get full visualization on the whole Homeland Security grant program. And I know I'm making it easy to sound. In the FEMA documentation or guidance that requires this body, it speaks more to the Homeland Security grant program holistically, not just this one that we've been looking at, SHSP. And so I very much understand when I say this, it means more work, more complexity, and I don't want it to go that way. I don't know how we would do it, but I think there would be value in this group somehow being able to give senior guidance to the administration that sees the other grant programs too, so that we understand that there's a not-for-profit grant and a fire grant and a UASI grant, that there might be more appropriate funding sources for some of the asks. So when we apply in this grant, we say no. We know that out of the 110 that got no, maybe some others are more appropriate somewhere else. And again, it ties back to the THIRA, because the THIRA's got the pull-down menu that calls the locals to say which grant program is most appropriate. So there's some mechanisms to do it easier. But from some of the questions I've heard over the last year or two from other members, it's clear that we're not all fully conversant on the other grant programs that impact this one as well, whether it's an information sheet. I don't know how we do it without getting too hard But I think there's opportunities for us to make better decisions if we know about the other grant programs and how they fit in locally with the HSSP.
I think we can help with that one. I mean, I can see how we can help with that one immediately. We've gone out and done some grant trainings around the state, and we can pull that grant training in here and kind of describe what grants we have. And definitely do that kind of training with you guys, just so you have a basic awareness of what the other grants that we are currently offering. I know Tracy knows some others that relate to cybersecurity that he can pull into that too. And I'm sure you all have some more too. So I think we could do maybe a grant kind of roundtable information session at some point. Just to give the basic start.
And my last comment on that was that we met last week, and the Emergency Management Alliance of Indiana, as well as the Association of Indiana Counties, are both more than willing to help work with us and with IDHS in getting your information and putting together information and getting it out to our peers through both organizations to educate well in advance of the next round of grants to do just that, not to just give you a problem, but to also offer assistance in working through multiple venues to help educate not only the emergency managers, but the other public safety officials and elected officials throughout the state on what's available, how they're the same, how they're different, when they're due, but to help get that word out and educate it. So it's not finger pointing, I didn't get it, whose fault is it? But to work together collaboratively months before the grant announcement to help educate everybody. So no shortage of help with whatever we put together to make sure it's a team effort.
Yeah, I think it's great point, Bernie.
Mhm.
So we'll brainstorm a little bit internally how we can put something together initially, and then how it can be distributed among those different organizations.
And maybe that grant resource guide. I know there's one that's on our site, but hasn't been updated in a few years. I don't know if that will help, kind of provide an overview, and then could be disseminated to other associations. Maybe that's kind of what you're aligning, Bernie, is sharing so that everyone kind of knows what each grant, the specificity of each grant. And so you're not missing out on one grant and putting applications in another that, are going to automatically be turned down. I know there was a comment. I'm trying to review my notes from June on, I think, were there some schools that had applied? Was there some
Yes.
discussion on that? That had also applied for, the school safety, and then I think applied in the SHSP. I had a couple things in my notes here. I can't remember the details of that. And then I think we were, again, trying to help focus on those that maybe have applied before and not received dollars, or really targeting. I know we had some maps, Rachel, that areas that to focus on, maybe to a comment earlier about, is it reaching 100%? There were parts of the state that we haven't seen maybe any grant success or applications, and kind of targeting some of those areas to help ensure they know what's going on. And I think we did allow some points for first time applicants as well. I had some of that in my notes. So just trying to take into account kind of everything that we had discussed back in June as some additional ideas for 2025. So I don't know if anyone else remembers some additional details there, but can we ask if they, do you apply for other grants? Have you been successful in other grants? Do we ask that question? Can't remember.
We do not. Yeah, we used to, but
Um,
yeah, essentially.
and then I think, did we award, was there some points for first-time applicants that had never been awarded?
Those that hadn't been awarded in the last 3 years.
Yeah, okay.
They got a bonus 5 points this year.
Because I think there were 18 that, was there 18 of 35? For some reason, that six in my mind that were awarded that hadn't been in the last 3 years. And so some work has been done there, but again, just looking at certain parts of the state that we probably need help pushing that message out, and probably some training, right? And then back to Tracy's comment about Okra. And so those were some notes that I had found from the June meeting here.
And back to the schools question, I think it was because technically they are a government organization, the public schools anyway, so they can apply. It's whether we want to allow them to continue to have that eligibility or not, because we do have a schools grant. And that is something the board will need to decide before it comes time for the next application.
Did we give schools grants or we did not
We did one
this round?
this round, but we had not before.
Remember what that was for again, Rachel?
Say that one?
Do you remember?
It's for window film. Ballistic film,
Were you a polling site?
I don't
possibly.
think so.
They wrote it
Maybe
really
it was,
well,
huh?
Yeah.
is what I remember.
I mean, here's the hard part. I mean, we're seeing a lot of cyber grants. I mean, even with our SLCGP, it's like, okay, we've tried to figure out whether we should include schools or not, because they are of any group, they respond and write grants very well. But when there's such little funding available, is it impacting jurisdictions and municipalities that can't get to that funding and don't have other alternatives, when there are numerous other school granting alternatives that come out? Like there's a whole brand new set of school and library cyber funds of $200 million that just got made available, that it's like, all right, if you got access to that, do I start locking down some of this other stuff that you shouldn't get access to because it's taken away from municipalities and stuff? So, I mean, I think that's a very good question that we need to ask is, no offense to the schools, but they have avenues to get other funding in other ways that these communities don't have access to in other ways.
And that's
Yeah.
And thanks for bringing that up, Tracy. I think that might have been the point, was not necessarily saying they can't, but they have access to other grants that the locals don't. And so, making sure that others aren't losing out from SHSP or some others that someone else could go to another well for. And I think maybe back to the, ensuring that the counties are all working together, right? That they're communicating on those needs from a countywide perspective, to ensure that they're meeting those needs. And, if they're working with the schools and the local police and the emergency manager, okay, and they work and say, let's apply for that, for our district. Okay, well, that's one thing, but we want to encourage that. And you see that in some of those applications that have been more of a countywide focus. That's been good. So hopefully the continued education, the focus on Thyra, working with the county EMs, everyone's talking, will help create some good applications moving forward.
Good discussion. Any other thoughts or comments before we move on to the next item? I think our team is always open to suggestions. So if you didn't bring it up today and would like to, that doesn't mean you're forbidden. So
Yep.
let us know.
Send it on over.
And we will be at EMAI, a week and a half. If anybody wants to come up and ask us questions or, okay, whatever, we're here.
Sounds good. All right.
The next thing is the charter amendments. So if there is anything in the 24 charter that we would like to change beyond changing the years to 25, references to the 25, NOFO and preparedness manuals. If there's anything else beyond those normal and updating the members, please let me know by January so that we can include those and run them through the legal, pass through legal and everything, so that we can get that approved in the spring meeting. And those are just send it to the email, the SAC email, and we'll get them all compiled and up for debate.
Did you recently share the most recent?
No, but I can send it out when I send the ethics training.
Okay, that'd be great.
That'll be easy to do. Then, any other questions, discussions, anything?
Good job. There's, if there's nothing else, let's see.
Estimate the next meeting in the spring. Maybe a little earlier. If we know enough, we'll do it a little bit before the NOFO comes out, so that we can discuss and finalize these discussion points. We'll kind of summarize all these together and see what we can brainstorm that we on DHS's side can do, and where we need some help, and reach out for those contacts that you guys have all mentioned, and see what we can get set up so that we're ready to go in the spring.
Okay. Any final questions or comments from anybody online? In the room? How about a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All right, we are supposed to do a roll call vote. So let's do it. I want to keep this thing. About the order.
All right, Jonathan Witham.
Yes.
Joshua Kilo.
Yes.
Tracy Barnes.
Aye.
Andy Vaughn. Steve Kane.
Aye.
Bernie Byer.
Aye.
Bill Johnson. John L. Seltzer.
Aye.
Matt Bilkey. Eric Yeazel.
Aye.
Brian Bair.
Aye.
Jack Seeks.
Aye.
Joel Thacker.
Yes.
And Joshua Geezy.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you all. Have a great week, and we will see you in the spring, if not before that. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.